Is the new K5 better than Toyota and Honda? We're showcasing the 2025 Kia K5 LXS in interstellar gray over black interior. This year we get some updates to the exterior, technology on the interior, updated wheels with a new power option that goes into the GT line, adding 11 horsepower over the 24 variant. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. I'm going to touch bases on some pros and cons. I'm going to see if this is worth it compared to the competition. The front, new standard star map LED headlights, LED daytime running lights that integrate into the tiger nose grille with the glossy black. The con that comes into play going into the LXS, you only have 4 different exterior trims for color. And they only option up to 6 different colors. But in the interior, you only get 1 color. But what is a pro is now we have a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder producing 191 horsepower with 181 pound-feet of torque that's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Going into the GT, we'll swap that engine out, giving us 290 horsepower with 311 pound-feet of torque, but that will be paired to an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. So I like that the K5 gives you performance and it gives you the everyday, achieving 26 mpgs for the city, 37 mpgs for the highway, which is the same as the turbo Honda Accord. But obviously hybrids are going to get a lot more mpgs, which would be a con in this perspective. But then in the pricing, you're going to be spending at least $4,000 or $5,000 more to just get a little bit over 12 mpgs more per gallon. 16-inch wheels is standard, so it's going to be a butter smooth ride. And it goes up to a 19-inch wheel. The suspension layout is the same whether you tick the box to a GT or this. So you're getting a McPherson strut front suspension and a multi-link rear suspension. So it's going to have a little bit more of that playful feel, even picking the naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. But when you go into the LXS, this is not the sweet spot. Really, the GT line is, and if you take the box to the all-wheel drive variant, it actually unlocks a lot more features. So when you're going this route, you're getting a savings, you're getting better MPGs than the next trim up, but then you're losing that sporty style, which basically is about $1,000 more. The rear gets standard LED map taillights that run across nearly the whole rear. The lower gets the satin aluminum and a diffuser, so it has the most sporty exit in class compared to Honda and Toyota. So going back to that question at the beginning, which is better from the 3? If you're looking for all-around value, I would take the box to the GT line, probably go to the all-wheel drive. It's about $2,000 more than this, but work a deal, you're gonna have a lot more standard features and it's still under $30,000. Whereas when you go into the Toyota Camry, go into the SE, now you got a sport-tuned suspension, you got 18-inch wheels. Well, you're not going to be sacrificing anything with the drive here, so you don't have to go up the tier for that. Now obviously you can go into the LE, tick the box to the convenience package, and it will add some features to the interior. You'll have the smaller wheels, but you're not going to have as many features as this, so therefore this is going to be better in that category. But MPGs, they have a hybrid. That's the big problem with Kia in general. For the new K4 and K5, they still don't have a hybrid variant to go against the class rivals. As for Honda, you can't even option features. You have to go up tier base, and when you're in the turbo variant, you can't get any of the features that are in the hybrid, which makes it a con to me, because maybe I want the turbocharged. I'm not so happy about hybrid technology, but I want the features. That's not going to be the case. But when you go to Kia, you can get your cake and eat it too, except you will lose out on a hybrid. Quick release going into 15.6 cubic feet of storage. Underneath the floor gets a spare tire, split fold the rear bench by pulling the tabs. That will fold down at a 40-60 split. It's not going to be a flat lay, but that will increase the cargo capacity to the K5. The key fob for the K5. Manual seat adjustment for the front. The GT line gets power seat adjustment for the driver as well as heated seats. Option for power seat on the passenger, you got to go to the all-wheel drive GT line. And this cloth seat is only on the base trim. Leatherette goes up the tier. GT line will go into the headrest per the trim, as well as ventilated seats going up the tier. You can already see how it's reworked. We're gonna have a little bit more digital screens throughout. And when you go into the GT line, you can option 10 speakers through Bose. Let's fire it up. One con that I have right off the bat, for the K4, you have a screen that's integrated here on the EX, which is 5 inches, and it's derived for the dual climate control setting, which is standard here. It's a single climate control there, but you don't have that here. You do have two 12.3 digital screens, but on the gauge cluster, it's gonna be a 4.3 TFT display that can go through an array of different content for the driver in the center. And for this screen here, in order to get navigation, you got to go to the GT line. It does come standard with wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM streaming, Bluetooth audio, and a reverse camera that the trajectory expands. Click onto the sub menu and you can change for a tow lineup. I don't know what you would do there. And you can expand it out for the whole 12.3 inch screen. We now have a touchpad for the climate control. And when you click onto this top, that is your buttons for the top screen. So they've made more of a minimalistic look with multi-use out of it. So I like that. Wireless charging pad, you have to go to the GT line, 2 USB, 12 volt. You get a storage bin there. There isn't any pass-through. It is a driver-focused setup, so sitting on the passenger side, you're gonna see a little bit of a glare, and this kind of bulges out like it does in every vehicle. So it doesn't really have a wall like Toyota, but you can stretch out. And it still keeps enough space similar to Honda. A little storage pocket here with your driving mode, and you have a total of 3 different driving modes here. This is going to be more firm. It opens up into a pretty deep storage pocket. Leatherette around the shifter. The steering wheel is going to be a little bit more basic. You will get the GT line flat bottom when you go into that trim. Both will be multi-function. Leg space is going to be more than enough. A panel moonroof starts on the GT line, so really that's the sweet spot. Headroom is more than enough. Door panel dash, configuring together nicely. I do like how this brushes in. They do a good job with the touch to feel, and it's soft to touch where it needs to be here. One touch up and down for the driver window only, and you kind of have a little grab handle here or a larger one back here with a long storage pocket. For the back seat, this is the opening that you have to fit 2 more with the cup holders and armrests. 2 USB ports, storage behind both of the front seats, and the door will have the same segment that's found in the front, so it's going to be a little bit soft here, but everywhere else it's all plastic with a smaller storage pocket. The nice thing about these mid-size sedans is check out the leg space that you have and headroom. Sliding into the center, you do have a hump. You will be sharing some feet, butt, leg, and shoulder space, but that's going to be the same in Honda and Toyota. The difference here, his headroom is going to be a little bit more tight opposed to the new Camry. 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with 191 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque. We're up 11 horsepower, which doesn't necessarily sound like a lot, but it kind of is. And I like that turbocharge, which gives us 290 horsepower with 311 pound-feet of torque. Maybe I just want style elements, so I'm happy that Kia listens to us on that aspect, because you can get a GT line and you can get all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive configuration. When you go into Honda, that's not the case. Toyota, when you change from front-wheel drive to all-wheel drive, it also changes your horsepower, which is going to be better than this. Braking in the vehicle, you can stop really well. So it doesn't feel very heavy. That's where I'm getting at with that. So is it enough power? That's what we're going to see when the light turns green. Even in sport mode, auto start stop still is engaged. You can turn it off. There's a physical button. Let's rock and roll. It's quick. I mean, off the line is nice. I'm enjoying the ride to this. It's smooth, comfortable. Suspension is good too. You don't feel a lot of the imperfections. 16-inch wheels, so they didn't go crazy. When you go into Toyota and Honda, they do go bigger wheels relatively quick. They start changing the suspension in Toyota to make it a sport tune suspension. I've done a lot of different comparison reviews with the new Camry. It's noticeable If you have them side by side, you will tell a difference. And going into the LXS, you're not going to receive everything, but it is nice that you're receiving the smart cruise control with stop and go, forward collision avoidance assist, park distance warning for the front and reverse. But the GT line, EX, and the GT, they're all going to get the same features that's standard. So you get the navigation with the smart cruise control. So it's going to have the where you stop and go. It's going to have the highway driving assist, blind spot monitoring. That's standard on the EX. It's not available on the GT line, but it is on the GT. So just keep that in mind. Park collision avoidance assist with reverse. That's standard on the EX. It's not available yet again on the GT line, but it is on the GT. Park distance warning for the sides. That's standard on the EX, which it should be. But again, the GT line, you're not going to get that, but you can get it on the GT. The GT line also gives you the pano moonroof, the LED interior lightings, Bose. The GT1 package adds a digital key, blind spot view monitoring, which means you hear the turn signals. Now you can see the cameras in that digital gauge cluster with the park distance warning for the side, as well as 19-inch wheels, which everyone's not a huge fan of, and the 12.3 curve display for the driver. Turn radius at a stop point, it's about 2 lanes. Now it's not going to get the 5.4 seconds that you're getting on the GT, and I wouldn't expect it out of this sports sedan. But I like that it's still sporty. Class leading horsepower and torque when you go into the GT, and when you're thinking about the price of it, it's still not going to be too over the top. So that's why the K5 kind of is that sweet spot vehicle, because you're wanting something bigger than the K4. You're wanting a little bit more power. That's what they're giving you. Technology, they're giving you a little bit more so too. You also have over-the-air updates, which comes out of the Kia EV9. So I like that they're implementing all the updates from the full EVs into the gas variants. But then, like I'm saying on the exterior, there isn't any PHEV. There isn't even a hybrid. So it does make it a little bit harder to compete, but because the pricing of what you're getting, the drive is comfortable, the seat cushion is good, it's long enough, your legs are not or your knees are not sitting up in the air, similar to a Hyundai, but it's not going to be as long as a Honda. The Accord has the best seating and the better cushion, but Kia's sound deadening is just as good as all the competition. The only thing that it's lacking is MPGs, which brings it back to the question, is it better than Honda and Toyota? For styling and technology, it is, but for all-round use, because those have hybrid variants, it isn't. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the merchandise, website, memberships, live streams, TikTok and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Regal Kia for giving us this 2025 Kia K5 LXS for our car review.